let us discuss about forest and wildlife. At first, we will discuss what is forest. Forest is best defined as an ecosystem or collection of ecosystems. Forests are dominated by trees and other woody vegetation, compared to other organisms. Here we should note that ecosystem is a biological environment consisting of all the organisms living in a particular area, as well as all the non-living physical components of the environment with which the organisms interact, such as air, soil, water, and sunlight. Now, let us move on to advantages of forests. Forests help to preserve biodiversity. Forests are natural habitats of plants and animals. Forests provide timber, wood, fuel, medicines, fodder, etc. Forests help to maintain an ecological balance. Forests help to control climate and rainfall. Forests help to prevent soil erosion and controls floods. Forests helps to maintain balance of oxygen and carbon dioxide in nature. Here we should note that biodiversity is the variety and variability among living organisms in a specified geographic region. Habitat is a place where species get what they need to survive. Let us discuss about stakeholders and various stakeholders in the management of forests. What is stakeholder? People who are associated with forests, directly or indirectly, are called stakeholders of forests. Various stakeholders of forest are the people who live in and around the forest, are dependent to some extent on forest products to lead their life. The forest department of the government owns the forest land and controls the resources in the forests. The industrialists who use various forest products for their factories, such as wood for making paper and furniture, and tendo leaves for making bidets, etc. The wildlife and nature enthusiasts who want to conserve nature in its original form. We have lot of advantages from forest, so we need to conserve the forests. First, we will discuss about conservation of forests. Conservation is the proper management of a natural resource to prevent from exploitation, destruction, or degradation. Approaches towards the conservation of forests are afforestation, planting seeds or trees to make a forest in an area where there is no forest. Preventing or reducing deforestation and preventing overgrazing by cattle. By setting up wildlife sanctuaries, national parks, biosphere reserves, etc. Undertaking social forestry programs like Van Mahotsav, Chipko movement, for planting and protecting trees on a large scale. Here, we should note that wildlife sanctuaries is a facility where animals are brought to live and protected for the rest of their lives. Let's discuss about Chipko movement. Chipko movement is also called as Chipko Andolan. Chipko movement is Hug the Trees movement. It is originated from an incident in a remote village called Rain in Garhwal, high up in the Himalayas, in the early 1970s. It is a social ecological movement that practiced the Gandhian methods of satyagraha and non-violent resistance through the act of hugging trees to protect them from being felled. It is a result of root-level effort to end the separation of people from their forests. Till now, we have studied about forests. Now, let us discuss about wildlife. Wildlife is a combination of different types of organisms. Importance of wildlife is, wildlife helps to preserve biodiversity. It also helps to maintain food chains and food web. We get useful products from wildlife like food, medicines, leather, bones, honey, lac, etc. Some of the approaches to be taken for the conservation of wildlife are: laws should be made to impose a total ban on killing or capturing of any animal or bird belonging to an endangered species. The killing of an endangered species of animals should be made a punishable offense. Such laws should not remain on paper only, they should be enforced strictly. Even if some type of wild animals and birds are in abundance today, the random killing of these animals or birds should not be allowed by the forest authorities. The natural habitats of wild animals and birds should be preserved by establishing national parks and sanctuaries throughout the country. The government department connected with the conservation of wildlife should conduct a periodic survey in all the forests, national parks and sanctuaries to have knowledge of the population of all species of wild animals and birds, so that these animals can be helpful in the times of distress, like floods and famines. Special attention should be paid to the conservation of endangered species of wild animals and birds, to prevent their extinction altogether. The unauthorized cutting of forest trees for timber and fuel wood should be stopped immediately. This is because reduction of forests destroys the natural habitat of wild animals and birds and exposes them to the cruelty of man as well as nature. In the case of government-authorized cutting of forest trees, for every acre of forest cut down, an equal area of land should be planted with saplings of trees to make up for the loss in the long run. Let's discuss with an example how people participated in the conservation of natural resources, that is forests. In 1972, the West Bengal Forest Department recognized its failures in reviving the degraded sal forests in the southwestern districts of the state. At that time, the department changed its strategy, making a beginning in the Arabari forest range of Midnapur district. At the instance, the forest officer A.K. Banerjee and villagers were involved in the protection of 1,272 hectares of badly degraded sal forest. In part of the protection, villagers were given employment in both silviculture and harvesting operations. With the active and willing participation of the local community, the sal forests of Arabari underwent a remarkable recovery by 1983. This is one of the remarkable examples for people participation in conservation of natural resources.